Republicans in the state of New Hampshire are pushing 3 separate anti-abortion pieces of legislation, all just as bad as the one before it. One of them, of course, modeled after Texas's anti-abortion bill that the U.S. Supreme Court is still, planning on ruling on. But one of these bills in particular is exceptionally startling, because one of these 3 pieces of legislation would actually allow men who claim to be the father of the unborn child, it would give them the legal right to block a woman from having an abortion. If the man comes forward and says, nope, you can't terminate this pregnancy, this law would say, that's it then. Done. Of course, the man has to be the father, and if the woman, of course, refutes the father's claim and says, no, you're not the father, then you'd have to do the paternity test and go to court. Now, here's the thing about that under this law. That's not an immediate thing. You don't immediately that day get the paternity test and get your court hearing. No, it pushes it back weeks, if not months and months and months, by which time, when we finally get the resolution confirming or denying that man's paternity, it would likely already be too late. Because in many instances, the woman would have already have had the child, but she wouldn't have been able to terminate the pregnancy while it was still being held up in court, so the man would win anyway. It does, of course, have the exception for sexual assault, but only, of course, if the woman has reported the sexual assault to authorities before the man makes the challenge saying that she has to keep the baby. So if a woman is assaulted and hasn't reported it yet, but finds out she's pregnant and the man finds out, he can immediately file a challenge and say, nope, she can't get rid of the baby. And if she hasn't reported it yet, because these things are not, it's not like having your car stolen. You don't call the police immediately. This is a whole psychological thing when an assault happens. It is a very traumatic event. And many individuals who go through it don't immediately say, I got to call the police. It's so much more involved than that. And that's why sometimes it does take time for them to be reported. And again, if the man makes the claim first, no matter what, even if she reports that it was an assault after that, if he's filed the claim, she has to keep it. And of course, once the baby is born, it goes to the man, most likely. Most likely. But see, the law doesn't actually cover that. It only says the man would have to cover the cost of prenatal care. So once the baby is born, the man would actually have no financial obligation. Sure, he's supposed to take it, but it doesn't necessarily mandate that he does. So basically, this law would force women to have the baby. The man would have to pay for all the prenatal care. But then after that, if he suddenly decides, you know what, I'm out, she's on her own. That's how extreme these new proposed laws are getting. And of course, this one is still in committee. It doesn't even have a whole lot of Republican support at this point. It, of course, was put forward by Republicans, but the rest of the party, even on this one, they're like, you know what? Don't know if we can do this. But if they don't do it in New Hampshire, I guarantee you they're going to try it somewhere else. Because this is how extreme they're getting. They want to take away women's rights and literally hand those rights over a woman's body to a man. Because that's what Republicans today are all about. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.